Okay, what's going on, Snazzy? If you want to make sure, that you can hear me, much appreciated, Snazzy. What's going on? What's going on? Good morning to you. Good morning. So, if someone on the Instagram can just give me a thumbs up to let me know that you guys can hear me. On the Clapper, same thing. Hey, what's going on, Ralph on Clapper? Hello to you too. Good morning, brother. Seems that we can hear. You guys can hear me, so we'll just take it from there then. Oh, Twisted Secrets. Thanks a lot for confirming. Thank you, Saint Smith. Close protection as well. Thank you very much. Now, once again, the past weekend has showed us that free speech is under attack. Boxer Imane Khelif has announced that he will be taking legal action against the hate that he has received online. And today, I want to show you how the upcoming lawsuits, combined with the comments made by UK police commissioner last week, are confirming that we are living in a world where feelings are more important than facts. Get your questions ready because the show starts now. My name is Nico Lagan, and I am a voice for common sense. I believe in masculine men, feminine women, accountability, small governments, the Second Amendment, and God. You know, the reason I do this live is I want to be able to talk to you guys. I want to be able to have a conversation, hear your thoughts, know what you guys are thinking. Because, man, it's important for us to be able to have conversations, especially the hard one, especially if you don't agree. Because this is definitely something that we need more of today. Because not a lot of people have the balls to do lives where they will actually take questions from people that don't agree with their opinions. Yet, this is all I do. So make sure to comment, make sure to have your voice heard. And, you know, if you don't agree with me, that's perfect. I want to be able to have that conversation with you guys. This is the whole point. This is the whole point, is to be able to converse and have a conversation about topics that people don't want to talk about. Right? Right? So, first and foremost, let's talk about Imane Khelif. Unless you've been living under a rock over the past, 3 weeks now? 2 weeks? Just over 2 weeks? You know exactly who I'm talking about. But if you don't, it's the guy that's been allowed to box women at the Olympics. The Algerian that's been allowed to box women as a biological dude, as a guy with XY chromosomes, have been allowed to box women. And not only that, but he won a gold medal this weekend on Saturday. He was crowned champion of his category with another dude that competed in another category that also won the gold medal. So this is what the Olympics is all about now. But now that he's finished, now that Khelif has finished the Olympic and he won the gold, now he's going to start fighting a different type of fight. He's going to go after the people that have been hating on him. Basically, he wants to go after the people that have called him a man. And God knows there's been a lot of them. There has been a lot of people that got involved in this, calling him a dude. And it's been announced this weekend that he has chosen a lawyer. He has dropped his suit. Well, his suit. He has informed us of his intentions of starting to sue people. He has filed a formal legal complaint, is how we should call it. And it's regarding, because he is a victim, of course, of online abuse. That is what's happening. Now, what you're seeing right now is, let me zoom that in to make sure that you guys can see it. There we go. Oh, that's too much. There we go. Now, this isn't French, but luckily for you, I'm French, so I can translate it for you. And this is his lawyer that he chose. A guy by the name of Nabil Boudzi is a French dude that will be representing Imane Khelif in the lawsuits that we can expect to see in the upcoming weeks. Basically, what he's saying is this. The boxer Imane Khelif has decided to fight a new type of battle, one for justice, dignity, and honor. Madam Khelif has deposited yesterday a complaint regarding the harassment, the online harassment that has been happening to her since the beginning of the Paris Olympics. There will be a, what's the word for archive? There will be a procedure, obviously, there will be a legal procedure regarding the campaign of misogyny, racism, and sexism that she has been a victim of during the Olympic of 2024. If you want to know what the letter actually means, I basically translated it for you word for word. But the point of the matter is that Khelif has started the legal process, chosen a lawyer in order to go after the people that have been hating on her. So basically, her feelings got hurt over the past few weeks because people are calling her a man, which, as per the biology definition of a man, has XY chromosomes, and it has been said by two of the biggest organizations in the world, two of the biggest boxing organization in the world, that he is indeed a dude. So this is where it becomes very interesting, because I want to show you a video that I found online, and God knows there's a lot of them, but there's a lot of people, as many people, I would say it's pretty bang down the middle. A lot of people are like me, are just like, you're a dude. XY chromosomes don't lie. It's simple biology. But there's a lot of people out there, and a lot of people with massive audiences, that are saying that her or him going after the haters online is needed, and they welcome it. Which, let me show you this video, because the guy has a very good following. The video's well made. I don't agree with anything that he says, but just to say the video's well made. But let's check this video together. And after, I want us to talk about what that actually means, because it's one thing to say that you will go after people for what they said online. You're going to sue them. But this has major implications. Like this is something that we really need to keep our eyes on legally, because this could set a very dangerous precedent. And especially when you combine this with what one of the UK police commissioner has said over the weekend, or on Friday last week, which we'll listen to the video afterwards. But this is the whole point today. I want to show you how this lawsuit, or the lawsuits that are going to start soon regarding the comments that were made by calling a dude, how this, combined with what the UK commissioner said, can now bring justice, like social warrior justice, to people that don't even reside in the country of which the comments were made. It's absolutely insane. I know it sounds insane right now, but I'll show you how they go together. But first, just understand that there's a lot of people out there that agree with Khelif, that agree that we should be responsible for telling the truth. Basically, going after people online for saying something that's true should have consequences. So listen to this, and we'll talk after.
Imane Khelif apparently is going to be going on a lawsuit spree, which she has every right to do. You could sue for some pretty massive damages considering the scale of this misinformation. You know, the Dominion voting machine company, they got a decent amount from like Newsmax and stuff. Press release, Imane Khelif. After the sporting time comes the legal time. Fresh from winning a gold medal at the 2024 Paris Olympic Games, boxer Imane Khelif has decided to take on a new fight, that of justice, dignity, and honor. Ms. Khelif contacted the firm, which yesterday filed a complaint for aggravated cyber harassment with the Paris Prosecutor's Office online hate unit. The criminal investigation will determine who initiated this misogynistic, racist, and sexist campaign, but will also have to focus on those who fueled this digital lynching. Digital lynching is too much. It's kind of like out of nowhere, fueled entirely by malicious disinformation, massive public figures and millions of conservatives attacking her over provably false things. I mean, obviously, it's not literally a lynching. I think that a little bit of playful hyperbole here is permitted. Imane Khelif.
So this guy, which has about 500,000 followers just on his YouTube channel, is saying that he agrees with going after conservative voices because we had the audacity to call a man a man. And although he mentions that it's the claims that he has XY chromosomes are not provable, he's absolutely incorrect. The IBA, International Boxing Association, the one that just prior to this Olympic was responsible for the testing, genetic testing, and to make sure that all the athletes weren't doping. Obviously, we're talking about boxing, but they were responsible. The IBA, the International Boxing Association, was responsible for testing the athletes. They have failed Khelif twice, in 2022 and 2023, both at the World Championships. The WBO, the World Boxing Organization, which is one of the biggest boxing, like pro boxing association in the world, one of the biggest title, the WBO title in professional boxing. This is one of the biggest title that any champion can only dream of having. Also said that he failed multiple gender tests. So two of the biggest boxing organization in the world are saying that he is a dude because he has XY chromosomes, which that's just fucking simple biology at this point. But you have a bunch of content creators like him that are going online in front of their massive audiences saying that this should be allowed. This is not only okay, but it's needed, because they're comparing it to a lynching. As much as he's saying that it's not really a lynching, you know deep down that he does. And this is the problem. Since when is telling the truth a lynching? And this is where it becomes very fucking dangerous. So once you understand that you have people like Khelif that's been allowed as a man, as a biological man, to box women, to not only win a medal, a gold medal, is now looking at legal actions against people that called him a man. And those people, just so you know, we're talking about a guy like Elon Musk. We're talking about a woman like J.K. Rowling's. So we're talking about people with massive following, massive amount of money. So obviously they're going to go after those two. They're probably going to go after the IBA and the WBO. So we now have an Olympic boxer that is trying to shut up people for saying the truth. And during the same week, we have a UK commissioner during one of the biggest protests that the UK has had in recent years. It's probably the biggest one that has happened over the past decades. And they've arrested, I don't know if you know this, but the UK has arrested more than 3,300 people for comments that they posted online. I've made a full episode of this on Friday where people are getting arrested for saying something, air quote, hateful online. Now there's a commissioner, there's one of the police commissioner in the UK that had this to say. I want you to listen to this, and we'll talk about this afterwards. I'll take your question and your comments afterwards, but listen to this and tell me what you think.
For the full force of the law at people. And whether you're in this country committing crimes on the streets or committing crimes from further afield online, we will come after you.
Talk to me about that, because we have seen some high-profile figures whipping up the hatred. You talked about it in there with the officers, in fact, about this being added to by online commentary. I mean, I'm even thinking of the likes of Elon Musk getting involved. What are you considering when it comes to dealing with people who are whipping up this kind of behaviour from behind a keyboard, maybe in a different country?
Being a keyboard warrior does not make you safe from the law. You can be guilty of offences of incitement, of stirring up racial hatred. There are numerous terrorist offences regarding the sort of publishing of material. All of those offences are in play if people are provoking hatred and violence on the streets, and we'll come after those individuals just as we will physically confront on the streets the thugs and the obs who are causing the problems for communities.
Did you hear what he said? Not only is he comparing people making comments online as terrorists, but he's saying that he's going to go after people that are not even citizens. So guys like me, for example, that have made multiple podcasts about what's going on in the UK and showing how the UK is not only trying to censor its citizens, but is actually going to arrest them and put them in prison for something that they deem to be racist or they deem to be hateful. Yet, what is hateful? There's no definition of there's no real definition of what hate is, because what I find to be a hate comment might be completely different from what you find to be a hate comment. Yet they're going to start. They have started arrested people, UK citizens, for hate comment and even racism. I've been called a racist for saying that Kamala Harris is incompetent. Yet the fact that she's a black woman has nothing to do with it. She's just incompetent. You look at what she's done at 3.5 years as a VP, which is nothing, and anything that she's been responsible for, like the southern border, she completely destroyed. She didn't do shit. Not only didn't she do shit, but she destroyed the southern border by allowing more than 10 million people, illegal immigrants, to come through the border. So now we're at a point in history where if I say that a black woman is incompetent, I'm racist. But I'm not saying that she's incompetent because she's racist. I'm saying that she's incompetent because look at what she's done, which is nothing. So she's incompetent. It has nothing to do with her sex or race. So we have a boxer, an Olympic boxer, that's going to start suing people for what they said online, which, as per the IBA and the WBO, is true. He is a he because he has XY chromosomes. Now we have a UK commissioner during one of the biggest riots / protests that UK had or has had over the past decades. Not only are they arresting people for what they said online, are going to start trying to extradite people from different countries. And you know where it gets even more fucked up is, for my American friends out there, you guys won your war of independence against the UK. You're a free country. You have nothing to do with them. But do you know that in Canada, technically, Canada is still under the Commonwealth. So we are still under King Charles. We are still technically part of the UK. So basically, a guy like me that posts a lot of videos about this, if I would say something that this UK commissioner that I just showed you finds offensive, because Canada is still under the Commonwealth, and I am a Canadian, it doesn't matter where I live, I am a Canadian citizen, they could extradite me. And you know that a guy like Trudeau will be good with that, because he's trying to pass bill like Bill C-63 that will censor people online, and not only censor them, but I would be facing jail time. And the maximum penalty for hateful comments online is life in prison. So are you starting to see how everything is interconnected? We are really at a point in history where hurting people's feelings could put you in jail. It's absolutely insane that this is a reality. Because at the end of the day, this is the situation that we live in right now. If we take the whole Imane Khelif example, we have two of the biggest organizations in the world telling us that he is a man. As per genetic testing that they've done, gender testing that they've done, he is a man. As a guy that's fought as an amateur for years, that coached numerous amateur athletes that's been in martial art for 20 years, I'm looking at the IBA and the WBO, and I'm like, you know what? I will trust what they say, because they are two of the biggest organizations, two of the biggest boxing organizations in the world. So I will trust that they know what the fuck they're doing, considering that they've had sanctioned thousands and thousands and thousands of fights. But now it's actually acceptable. People are okay with a dude that fought women suing people that said that he was a dude. So me saying that he's a dude is hurting his feelings, so he has the right to sue me. A UK commissioner has the right to wants the right to extradite me for saying something that hurts somebody's feelings. Do you see how free speech, the First Amendment, is the most important amendment that you guys have in your Constitution? There's a good reason that a woman like Kamala Harris, if she's ever elected, will go after this. Because although right now, the UK commissioner cannot get an American to be extradited to the UK. As much as he would love to be able to do it, it's not going to happen. But you know that tiny bit at a time, if you elect a woman like Kamala Harris, will become a reality. Because the whole goal here is a world government. This is the goal. Like any goal of a Marxist or a communist nowadays is not just to have one country under his grasp. It's to have every single country on the planet be controlled by one single government. And you look at a Kamala Harris, she is a puppet. You look at a Justin Trudeau, he's a puppet. Look at most prime minister and presidents of countries in Europe. They're all puppets. But do you see how allowing lawsuits like these to happen can lead to a world where I can get extradited from my country, wherever it is that I'm living, because I said something about an event that's going on in a completely different country, and I've hurt somebody's feeling in that country. Now I'm liable to go to prison or to face justice in their country because I've hurt their feelings? This sounds absolutely fucking insane, but this is a reality. If we don't stop this shit, this is exactly where we're going. Let me see what you guys have to say. So let me jump on the Instagram here and see what you guys are saying, because this is outrageous, absolutely outrageous. Twisted Secrets, they will have to change rules, not by gender of male/female, but by chromosomes. This would be fair, I think, 100%. But this is I get what you're saying, but what's really ironic about what you're saying is that this is how you define a man or a woman. XX chromosomes, you're a woman. XY chromosomes, you're a dude. So that should already be the case, but I get what you're saying. I agree. Snazzy, I'm fairly sure we're allowed to hate whoever the fuck we want. So hate is not a real term. You cannot define what hate is, because hate is based on feelings. Is it hateful for me to say that the blue sky is beautiful? It doesn't sound hateful, does it? But to somebody that's blind or somebody that's colorblind, that might be hateful because they've never seen the beauty of the blue. They've never seen a beautiful blue sky. So by me saying that the blue sky is beautiful, I'm hurting their feelings. Is that a hate? because hate can be whatever hurts your feelings. And this is the problem with anything based in hate speech. Anything can be considered hate speech if your barometer is your feelings. Twisted Secrets. Well, isn't there only a freedom of speech limited in only certain countries? Absolutely. There's no such thing as freedom of speech anymore. And even in the US, I would argue that it's not really there anymore either. But not only that, but one important point about freedom of speech is that freedom of speech only protects you from the government. Like the First Amendment only covers you from the government. It doesn't cover you from legal lawsuits like Imane Khelif, because that has nothing to do with the government. It's someone suing somebody else. So the free speech does not protect you against that. It only protects you against the government trying to censor you. Twisted Secrets, and that could be construed as defamation of character. That's exactly what it is. You're absolutely bang on. This is definitely, he hasn't started suing anybody yet, but I'm ready to bet that you're bang on, that it will be defamation of character. And luckily, I have a friend lawyer of mine. He's from Texas, and we will make a show. Once we hear more about the lawsuits, him and I will make a show. So if you have any questions you want me to ask him, let me know and I will ask. But you're absolutely right. I'm ready to bet that it will be based on defamation of character. Absolutely. Snazzy, I've recently finished reading 1984, and the parallels between the book and what we're living through is uncanny. Absolutely. Like, I don't know if you guys see it right behind me, right there. Let me see with my camera to make sure I'm pointing in the right place, but right there. If you see the book with the eye there, this is basically why it's there. This is 1984. I'm a big fan of George Orwell. I've read all of his books, not just 1984, but everything that he's written. He's very interesting, by the way. But this is his full series of book, and this is why it's there. And this is why there's an eye on it, because Big Brother is watching you. So you're absolutely right. If you guys haven't read 1984 by George Orwell, you should definitely read it. You should definitely read it. Sorry. It's not a hard read, but it is a scary one. And what I find very interesting by what you're saying, Snazzy, is that in 1984, they basically start in the story already. They don't tell you how the very communist countries that they now live in, the communist world that they now live in, has come to be. They don't show you all the steps. They just show you kind of the result. What is the reality in which they're living right now? And as you're saying, Snazzy, I totally agree. What the steps that we're seeing right now, all the attacks at free speech, trying to disarm people, trying to censor people, are the steps that go from a free country or a free world to communism. So you're absolutely right. This is exactly how I see it too. Twisted Secrets. Well, if that's the case, then why hasn't Hollywood been arrested and put in jail for hating on past presidents? I mean, people sit there and say nasty things about other people all the time. Hack the media does it every day. And you're absolutely right. I totally agree with you. I get hate speech on me every single day. Just today, I've had a bunch of them already. But that's the problem. It always comes down to who gets to define hate and who gets to apply those policies, who gets to apply those laws. If what I'm saying is not hating on the people that are in power, then they don't care. It's only going to harm the people that are talking about things that are not approved by the government. And the UK police commissioner, the video I showed you earlier, is the perfect example. Because if you're saying something that is in agreement with what he's saying, it doesn't matter if it hurts people's feelings. But if you're saying something that goes against what he's preaching, then it matters. Then they're going to do something about it. And that's the problem. That is always the problem. It's always about the person that gets to decide what is hate. Because now we're not just looking at what hate is, but who is responsible for defining what hate is. Because it always comes down to who's saying it. Because as you said, if somebody is saying something against Donald Trump, that's not a hate, that's just truth, right? But if I'm saying something against Kamala Harris, that's hateful. This is the problem. This is a massive, massive problem. It is, as Snazzy is saying, all subjective. High Five Golf. There's no way Kamala actually wins, is there? That would be the end of the U.S. You know what, brother? I do think that there's a high possibility of her winning, but it's not going to be legal. She's not going to do it the proper way. But how are you going to prove that? How are you going to prove this is me with my conspiracy hat on? But, you know, it's going to be interesting. It's definitely going to be interesting to see what's going to happen in November, or what's going to happen until November. Is there still, because I still believe that there might not be an actual election in November. That something so big is going to happen that somehow Kamala is just going to become president without ever being elected. And is it that far-fetched? Is it that hard to believe, considering that she's now the nominee of the Democrats without ever being voted for? She was chosen before anybody voted for her, because not only was she the only one that could represent the Democrats because of the June 30th deadline, but everybody else that could have ran after her, or that could have been a challenge to the candidacy, just decided to endorse her. So it wouldn't be hard for me to believe that there will not be an election in November. Now, let's see what you guys on Clapper have to say. Ralph, I don't agree with it. You don't agree with what? Oh, I don't agree with it. A man shouldn't box a woman. Well, bro, we agree on that one. We definitely agree on that one. That's complete insanity. You know, I made a video about laughing about the irony in this, and I said something along the lines, hitting a woman is never okay unless you're boxing at the Olympics. And you should see the hate I got on that one. But it's a fact, man. It's not okay to hit a woman unless you're at the Olympics. It seems that that's acceptable. But this is the irony of it all, right? Let's see what Sugar Beast is saying. They don't have that power. No, I'm pretty sure that you're talking about the UK commissioner. Not yet. Not yet they don't, but it's just a matter of a country making a treaty with them, because at the end of the day, bro, you are capable of extraditing people from different countries, right? Because right now, like the US and the UK, I'm sure that they've extradited people between the two before. If you commit a crime in the UK, you're found in the US, they have agreements between the two countries. And this is something I need to bring Michael Eline, which is my go-to guy he's my go-to lawyer to talk about the First Amendment, Second Amendment, and anything that has to do with the law in the US. But from what I understand, there would be a possibility, because if you commit a murder in the UK and you go back to the US, they will extradite you to the UK. So it's just a matter of the government in the US agreeing on the charges and say that this is dangerous, this is a real crime, so we'll extradite you. It's just a matter of perspective on that one. So be careful when you say that it can't happen. I'm not too sure, brother. I hope you're right, but I got a feeling that you're not. People call me all kinds of things, but I don't have grounds to sue them for their opinions. You don't, I don't either. Yet you'll see that Imane Khelif will. Is it going to be successful or not? I don't know, but I really hope that he does go after guys like Elon Musk, because that guy will fight it. That guy will absolutely fight it, and he has very deep fucking pockets. So he could make it very challenging for him to sue Elon Musk. So I hope it's going to happen, because I would love to see it. I would love to see it. I would love to see if they sue the IBA, the WBO, if they sue J.K. Rowling, if they sue Elon Musk, because that's going to set a very interesting precedent. Could be a very dangerous precedent if he's successful in suing them. I don't know that it's going to happen. I don't know that he's going to be successful in doing it, because they have really deep pockets. but just the fact that it's being considered is what blows my mind. Just the fact that there's a lawyer that accepts this, that's okay with this, is mind-blowing to me. And there's a lot of people online that agree, that thinks that this is a great idea. And that's another thing that is very dangerous. People believing that you can sue other people because you hurt their feelings. Because is this because here's the truth. And here is what the biggest thing we need to remember. Saying that someone is incompetent is not a racist comment because that person happens to be a black woman. Calling a boxer with XY chromosomes a man is neither sexist or transphobic. It is just a biological fact. And this is the problem. Feelings have more importance than facts. And this is what's so dangerous about what's going on right now. Super B, chipping away at any freedoms we have. You're absolutely right, brother. You're absolutely right. And that is exactly what's going on right now. That is exactly what we're seeing. Tiny bit at a time. And this is exactly what happened in Canada. Over 8 years, Trudeau has been chipping away slowly but surely at people's freedom. He's been censoring people over time. He's not doing it. He's not going he hasn't gone crazy in the first week, but he did it over time, to a point where he's trying to pass a censorship bill called C-63 that could have me jailed for the rest of my life for saying something that hurt somebody's feeling online. And during the Freedom Convoy, arguably the biggest protest in Canada history, he froze people's bank accounts as an emergency measure. So is it that far-fetched that people might be extradited from the US or from Canada to face hateful comments in the UK? I don't know, man. I don't think it's that far-fetched. April, hey, what's going on? April on Instagram. I hope Khelif sues and goes through discovery phase and release his medical records. I got suspended for 2 years by my powerlifting federation for asking, not wanting XY in the women's. That is true. For the people that don't know, April Hutchinson is a power lifter, and she became famous in Canada because she refused to compete against dudes. So I agree with you, April. I'm very interested to see the result because you're absolutely right. If Khelif goes and is actually successful at suing, like let's say that the court in France accepts her legal procedures and starts suing guys like Elon Musk or the WBO or the IBA, I would love to see it. I would love to see it because you're absolutely right, April. That would force him to release his medical records. And it'd be very easy for them to show the XY chromosomes that he was born with. So you're absolutely right. Very, very good point. Absolutely bang on. Snazzy, can you imagine all the lawsuits in high schools as 12-year-old feelings get hurt? I'm going to go grab my popcorn. But that is the door that we're opening. As crazy as it sounds, this is the exact door that we're opening by allowing this shit to continue. So let's see what happens. I'm going to keep you up to date with what's going on with Imane Khelif because I follow this stuff every day. I'm very curious to see what happens, but I really hope they go after a guy like Elon Musk because that guy is going to fight it and he has the money to back it up. So I'm very, very curious to see what happens. But until then, if you're tired of what's going on, if you're tired of the mess that we find ourselves in, here are 5 things that you can start doing right now. Number 1, stay up to date with what's going on in the world and in your community. Number 2, make sure that you know what your kids are being taught in school. Number 3, attend all school board meetings and city council meetings. You need to know what your city is doing. You need to know what the school boards your kids are attending are doing. Number 4, find people in your community that share your values and get involved any way you can. And number 5, make your voice heard online. Create content. Tell people what you stand for. Create content that shares your opinion, that tries to inform other people. Try to wake them up, or at least say something that they don't have the courage to say. Share content from people like me or other conservative voices out there that only wants to help by exposing the biases that's happening right now. As always, I want to thank every single one of you for commenting, for liking, for sharing my stuff. Without you, I would not be doing what I'm doing today. So know that I appreciate every single one of you. And as always, let's close out with a prayer. God, thank you for everything that you do for us. We are grateful for all our blessings. Please give us the courage to stand up for what we know is right, the words to say, what needs to get done, and the will to help and serve others. Amen. Thank you for being here, and I will see you on Wednesday. Peace out.